Minecraft world generation is an incredible technological wonder, and it never has any flaws whatsoever, besides when it spawns a giant lake in the middle of an ocean, or a chest underneath Bedrock, or even weirder, two structures together, which is pretty rare by itself, but imagine three structures in one place. Now we're talking a 1 in several million chance, and that's why when I saw a seed which had 5 structures in one place, I just knew it couldn't be topped, and so I haven't shown off a seed in a while, but wait until you see this one. It is a stronghold below an ocean monument with a woodland mansion on top of it, which is, by the way, in the wrong biome. There's also a village found right outside of that woodland mansion, and then on top of it, there is a hundreds of blocks tall pillager outpost, which also has aquifers coming off it. And wait till you learn about the other structure which is hidden in there, because this seems like it's too much, but there is a ton of seeds that just show that Minecraft Bedrock World Gen is the gift that keeps on giving, and let me show you some of those today, right after I mention that you can subscribe to the channel to see the latest and greatest in seed breaking. A few years ago, I found the missing seed 0 for the first time. Then, with the help of Cracked Magnet, we found the 12 IF Ender seed, which made it possible to beat Minecraft on Peaceful for the first time, and the craziness keeps going up, so if you subscribe, you can see the latest in seed generation. Anyway, today I'm going to be showing you several weird broken seeds, mostly found with the help of Cracked Magnet, who is seriously the technical guy you need to know for this sort of stuff. It is incredible the amount of depth that is hidden within Minecraft's world generation, and to explain that, let's go into this first world. This is the spawn location for the seed, and it looks pretty unremarkable. I mean, I like the amount of plains you have, I like the mountain in the distance, but it looks like pretty much nothing, and honestly, most people are going to head straight this way. This is the direction you want to head until you get to these coordinates right over here. You'll see a big meadow, you'll see a little bit of ice, and oh my god, in person, it's just always so crazy. It really is here, it really is found, at least at time of recording this video. It will work for every Bedrock platform, and it's just absolutely nuts to look at. So I want to explain what's happening here, but first it has to be said just how wild all of these combos are. I mean, an iron golem killing a pillager right there, already pretty strange, but think about this for a second. This is a woodland mansion existing in a biome where they should not exist. They can only spawn in roof forests. This is not a roof forest. In fact, it also spawned a village out here, and although this is at least the right type of village for the neighboring biome, how did this get out here to begin with, and where did most of the village go? It was gobbled up by the mansion, which also shouldn't be there. Also, because the pillager outpost, ignore how high it generated for just a second, because there's a pillager outpost there too, some of this has actually been replaced. You can see, you can go right into this villager's house, because his back doors have been replaced by the pillager outpost, little, you know, the little target practice dolls they have. And then even stranger is the fact that just below that we have an ocean monument, but the ocean monument isn't meant to be below a woodland mansion. This is not how this is meant to generate at all. So the whole thing is sectioned off in really weird ways. But even weirder than all of that combined is the fact that this pillager outpost is actually connected to some floating, because it's over 100 blocks to get up, by the way. But when you do get up here, you'll see it's connected to this big floating aquifer, which is so high up that it froze over. And the clear explanation for this is that the pillagers are getting smarter, and they just really want somewhere to be able to ride around on a boat. I mean, look at this. Look how happy he's going to... Look how happy this guy is as we go for a little ride off the top. Because fun fact, this isn't a floating aquifer. If you look, it is connected by a single block wide strip right there that goes all the way down. I'm sorry, I didn't realize they couldn't survive the fall like we could. But it's connected to a single piece of stone, which then goes into the top of the woodland mansion. The fact that this single block of wood is going through a woodland mansion is enough, kind of is confusing enough by itself, but I just wanted to mention everything about this is strange. You shouldn't find villagers inside a woodland mansion. You shouldn't find these inside a woodland mansion, and you most definitely shouldn't be able to dig down from one of these places and end up inside of an ocean monument. This is just not how Minecraft is supposed to work, and I don't think I need to explain that, but just in case I do, fun fact. Also, I keep mentioning it's 6 structures, so maybe in case you think this is misleading, like, well, an aquifer isn't a structure, Toy Cat, and although I kind of implied when I said 6 structures earlier, even showed you the list, that the aquifer was one of them, what I was actually referring to is what is found right here inside the mansion, Because if you dig up the floor of this mansion, you'll see there is a chest. This isn't a woodland mansion chest. It's a buried treasure chest, which is found below the mansion, but above the monument and next to the village, underneath the pillager tower. Also still above a stronghold. This one structure combination, it might be insanity, but it does hold within it enough to get basically every major mob that you want. This is, by the way, a iron golem that is mad at a drowned, you know, there's a lot going on with this. In fact, as you can see, you learn a lot about Minecraft's generation from how this works. Like, the village generates on a few layers of stone when it generates over an ocean. There are these bridges and pathway blocks still, but that still happens. You'll also learn that villages don't just stop generating because we go underwater. If you look through these caves, you'll see some really weird things. Like, look at this. This feels like it's a bit unintentional, just water disappearing into nowhere. By the way, taking a little night vision and some water breathing, you'll see something interesting this seed proves that has never been tested before. The foundations for, because structures have these big foundations to connect them to the ground. That is effectively a floating pillager outpost, but it has to connect to the ground, wherever that is. The ground is the woodland mansion, but the woodland mansion is floating, so that has to connect to the ground too. But this has only ever been programmed to go down to Y0. Okay, we can't see that in the water, but if you look down there, it actually stops when it hits Y0. There's no deep sleep foundation. There's nothing else there. That is just the end point. Also, if you look down there, you'll see that means that the ocean floor, a lake floor effectively, is lower than Y0. In fact, substantially lower than Y0, and that is the explanation for all of this. Minecraft, the bug that has been found very cleverly by Cracked Magnet is to do with how low ocean floors can theoretically generate right now. So the simple explanation for this is that Minecraft has something called a weirdness value. So as that weirdness value goes up, stranger things happen to the terrain, but as that goes over 1.95, you start to get lakes. As those lakes get deeper and deeper, you can get lakes which are able to generate below the world height, except Minecraft has a lot of rules in place to stop something like that happening, because there's no way things can generate down there, so instead you have this big flattening at Y-54. This is as deep as a lake can get, and the proof of this is the fact that, where the terrain staggers down here, it just kind of unnaturally has this big floor. If it could naturally go down deeper like it wants to, then this would go down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, all the way below Y-64. Well, why is that relevant? Well, if you'll forgive the stupid joke. Well, when Minecraft is placing a structure, it needs to make sure it won't float in the air. Early Minecraft used to have structures which would float in the air. It was very jarring, as I'm sure you can see, and so one of the early priorities was to fix this. And they do this by working out the level that a structure should spawn by looking at the biome around it and working out a range of values. For the woodland mansion, this is 32 blocks, so if it works out that it should be spawning between, say, layer 40 and layer 72, then it can work out where it should roughly be placing the low point of the mansion, and then it can place these big cobblestone towers to work out the rest. So with that said, this is a very integral part of when a structure is spawning, when it's checking whether it should spawn one or not. And another integral part of this is a biome check. You can only have a woodland mansion in the roof forest. You can only have a desert temple in a desert. You can only have an igloo in the snowy plains, etc, etc, etc. Every, a structure will only spawn if it matches that biome test. But now imagine there is terrain which goes lower than Minecraft's biome checker could ever conceive of, let's say below 0. And, most of the time what will happen with this is it will just work out the terrain is too low, we should not spawn a structure there. I mean, if you're Minecraft and you're trying to work out should there be a village here, I think you can easily conclude, nah, there is a direct line of sunlight to the surface if you ignore the water, but it's a bad place for a village to go. And so when this goes too low down, Minecraft would just say, yeah, we shouldn't spawn the structure there. However, if this value goes below -64, which Minecraft terrain can go, even though you don't see it below -64, this results in it doing a integer overflow, meaning -65 is not a number. Instead, it goes all the way round to the top of the spectrum, 32,768 blocks. Now, what you would expect to happen at that point is it'd say, we can't spawn a structure 32,000 blocks in the air, but instead what it does is it says, oh, well, we can't do this biome check because we couldn't spawn the structure 32,000 blocks in the air, therefore we'll just spawn the structure anyway. And individually, any of these events would be an incredible bug by itself, but now consider that sometimes the locations that Minecraft would choose for a village, a temple, a ocean monument, a stronghold, all these things overlap in a way that they shouldn't normally. There is something that should tell Minecraft, don't overlap these structures, but here, that code has failed, and so what we have instead is all of these structures in one place. Very, very wild, 100% worth checking out. This is actually a useful survival seed because you can get sponges and, honestly, it's gonna be annoying having that Elder Garden effect, but you can get your sponges, you can get your villager trades in if you want to, with an iron golem to protect you from the mansion. You can get a totem of undying, and then you can get a crossbow, and then eventually go to the end via the end portal just below all of this, all in one place, and that is astounding. Also, it's pretty well isolated because it's over an ocean that goes to Y-54. In fact, this ocean going so far down is kind of responsible for a lot of weird seed things, as you're about to see. So this second seed has the exact same flaw, but specifically for the Java edition, it was where it was pointed out by Stardust MC, and it's really interesting to say that, like, okay, yeah, this is a Java broken seed, but it is also a very interesting on Bedrock. I mean, look at that. There's a village over there. We got a mountain. It's very interesting. And also, if you do a 180, oh yeah, look at that. It's not quite as deep. This bug isn't quite as prevalent on the Bedrock edition. Maybe bug isn't the right word. Maybe just strange generation. But it's not what you expect to see in the middle of an ocean. It feels, in fact, very incorrect. Because if the water's flowing down, you'd expect the water levels to equalize or something, but that's not how this works at all. It's also very strange to look at this thing with the night vision on. You can see that, like, yes, this ocean tried to go deeper and deeper and deeper until there's that big flat point from earlier, and then the weird aquifer generating in the middle of it, these weird underwater caves, they don't make any sense because they're caves generating against blocks. They're not usually meant to be like that, but yet they are. And I wanted to show you the seed for 2 reasons, or 3 reasons. One is this. The second is, you see that, you can get a really easy little amethyst geode because it's poking out the side here. Usually not so easy to do, so get yourself an amethyst geode, a lovely fully formed one. The third reason is what happens if you are to dig down below this. So again, these lakes generate at -54 just to keep you safe from the world base, like to make sure terrain doesn't take you out of the world, because another very jarring, very big problem in Minecraft is when that happens. But let me show you what happens if you were to go underneath the world, because there is, beneath the world, in a way that would never be accessible in survival, a chest. And even funnier in my opinion is because the chest, even if you could get down here, which theoretically sometimes you can glitch below bedrock, even if you could do that, because there is bedrock above the chest, you can never open this. Do you see that? It literally says, it's insane the way this works, but you cannot open this chest. It is not ever possible in survival. In creative, we can see it's like, you know, it's a standard ocean monument, a buried treasure chest, but it's hilarious that this chest tried to generate below an ocean and instead generated below bedrock, because the ocean went as low down as bedrock could go, and therefore the chest had to do the precise same. That is very funky if you ask me, but I've got one more seed I want to share with you, because, you know, this is interesting too, but you know what really blows my mind? It's a seed with one of the most fascinating spawns I've seen in a while. There are multiple azalea trees around the place. There's a ruin portal next to a village, next to a pillager outpost. Also, by the way, a lot of this village generates in a lush cave. So if you ever wanted to have lush cave villages, well, this is the closest you're going to have. It is very surreal to have a cave which expands out into the actual land itself. I think it's very interesting. But what I also think is very interesting, looking at this seed, is the fact that this is just the start of the weirdness. Oh, look at that. There's, you know, it's just very fun that the villagers hanging out in the cave. But yeah, if you look around, you'll see that just behind spawn, the exact same thing happens. Holy f***ing shit. This thing is insane. I really cannot overstress that. What the heck is happening here? Not only is this huge, it's bigger than the one in the seed I just showed you, but also, because this is technically some ocean, there is a shipwreck in here. you can get a shipwreck at Y-7, which is, yeah, again, admittedly, this is, usually you see shipwrecks and you're like, how did you even wreck there? This one, it's like, I don't even know how a boat could get there to begin with, nor how it would stay there. It is, the entire boat is kept in by a single block over there. Even more interesting, by the way, is all of these blocks are waterlogged, but they're not flowing. There is just water, so there is floating water all around this boat as it generates. Maybe that's not the weirdest thing, but it's definitely one of the weird things to me. And yeah, all the captain was transporting was a few bits of wheat, some suspicious stew, and some potatoes. I'm just saying that stew had to be really suspicious if it led him to crash like this, right? This is the sort of Minecraft seed that really makes you question the world that can exist around it, and it's the sort of thing that makes me really enjoy questioning, like, how and why and where this exists, and what Minecraft really is if this happens all the time, because Minecraft is a game that is basically famed for its broken generation. Every time they fix a problem, they introduce 3 other more interesting ones, and I absolutely love to see it, because Bedrock world generation in particular is one of the most broken things out there. Again, 5 structures I thought was the peak we'd ever find, but this has clearly shown me that that was not true in the slightest, and that maybe there is more hope and more craziness. Just real quick, I want to say thank you to Cracked Magnet for the find on this. It's an absolute gem of a crazy thing, and I also want to say that maybe we'll be doing some looks for, like, what if there are other crazy things like this out there, because when you find one bug that works in one particular way, sometimes it works in some other ways that might be worth exploring too. So maybe we'll see what happens when the weirdness goes even higher off the scale and also causes more structures to generate. I'm looking forward to seeing if the same thing can happen with desert temples, maybe even, you know, the Lord and Savior desert wells, the most useful structure in Minecraft. Would love to see it atop a big old tower of structures. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if and when that happens. And if you want to know both of those things, then you can perhaps consider subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. We had it's been a crazy month for big videos, but I hope you've been appreciating them. A subscription would be a great way to return the favor for the video that you hopefully enjoyed, and either way, I hope you enjoyed it, because I'm going to see you in the next one. Goodbye.